G'day, superstars. It's Peps. It's J-Dog. It's the Round 5 review of the AFL Season 2024 edition. Great to have you back. Massive week. Upsets galore. Everything happened in this cracking round of football. We're back with another week of just taking football fact-free, but full of passion. Peps and J-Dog, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Mate, I'm pumped. First day of retirement. Semi-retirement. The semi's my wife telling me I have to get back to work. But no, life is good, my friend. Just enjoying it day in, day out. Got to watch a bit of footy on the weekends. Like I said, upsets galore. Last week, I was the tipping god in round 4. In round 5, I am now an atheist. Couldn't pick a broken nose, mate, if I tried. My footy tipping had more bangs than Stevie Wonder's toes. That's how bad I was on the weekend.
Tough round, though. Tough round.
Well, tough round. But isn't it good just to sort of put a bit of realization that footy's back? Footy's back. We needed a weekend like that, J-Dog. We needed teams to have a great week. We had other teams that had shocking weeks, and we had the Western Bulldogs doing what they usually do, which is just letting down everybody. And we're going to get into all that because it's going to be a massive week of footy, mate. Anything that caught your eye before we get into the gritty of it all?
No.
So just same old.
Just same old for me.
Same old.
It's just another game of football.
Just another day in paradise. Beautiful. All right, buddy, we're going to get into the usual bits and pieces as we normally do. Thank you for everybody tuning in live. Thank you for everybody tuning in on the podcast as well too. Now, if you're on our Spotify page, you can leave messages. But what we also want you to do is leave messages for us on the Facebook, the Lace Out AFL Facebook page. Leave messages for us on the Lace Out YouTube page. If you ask us questions, we will respond to them. We've already got Tommy Roker. We're already Mossy on the chat. They are going nuts already. We're going to answer all your questions. But before we do that, we need to go into the thing that we talk about every single week. And we know what that is, Big Dog. It is the ladder as it sits right now after round 5 of the AFL. We're almost at the point next week where every team will have played 6 games. But GWS and Geelong on top of the ladder, unbeaten at this moment in time. Then we've got a conglomerate of Port, Sydney, Melbourne, and Carlton, who had their first loss on the weekend. Fremantle and Gold Coast and Essendon, interestingly enough, after all the feedback that Essendon have been copping over the last X amount of weeks, they are still sitting there lovely in 9th position. Brisbane had a cracking win. Western Bulldogs, St Kilda, Collingwood, Adelaide get their first win. Richmond, West Coast, Hawthorn, and North Melbourne are the last 2 who do not have a win on the board. J-Dog, we've got a lot of teams have played 5 games. A couple have played 6. Where do you look at it? Where does it sit? Tell me what you think at this moment in time.
I think in here we have some false prophets at the moment.
Oh, okay. Who's your false prophets and why?
For me, it's Geelong are probably the false prophet at the moment.
Ooh, that's interesting. Why?
Haven't beaten a team. Not to say that they're a bad team, because Geelong are definitely not a bad team.
Yep.
But they have played all of the bottoms.
Okay. I still rate them. You could have a similar mark for GWS as well, J-Dog.
That's what I'm saying. I said prophets.
So the 2 at the top, even though they haven't lost a game, still yet to be convinced.
I'm convinced in Geelong. I'm not convinced in GWS. But Geelong, as great as it has been, they actually haven't really beaten anyone, and it does start for them probably this week.
Yep.
And they've got a next 4 weeks are reasonably tough.
There's a lot of teams with so Geelong have a bit of a tough run. GWS have a tough run. Fremantle have a tough run, but if they can get over that, they could be in a smashing position. There are teams who have got some really bad runs, tough ones, but that's what it should be about. It shouldn't be easy side of things.
Oh,
sorry.
AFL is still in a bloody great state. Like Hawthorn and North Melbourne are going to get one of them's going to have a win this weekend. That's great. That's a great.
And that's come up on the chat. We're going to get into those sort of things as well too, because these are the questions coming in right now. Is Bowie Hawkins is talking about that one, Hawthorn or Hawks? Where does it sit? Who do we go with? we'll get into that a little bit later on as we start to unpack everything. I've obviously got my little 9-minute rant on the previous weekend's footy, just some observations that I saw from the limited access they had to games. But I'm just looking at this ladder, and I would say there's probably 6 teams locked in at that top spot. In that top 8, I reckon 6 of those teams are not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I would say that, and I'd be saying it's probably the top 4, I would say, are pretty much locked in. I reckon Melbourne will be locked in, but definitely won't be top 4. Carlton should be locked in, and then I reckon from 7, 8, I reckon there's 6 teams that, actually, I reckon there's only 6 teams that can get in that bottom 7 and 8th position. Tommy Roker's hopefully saying that the Suns are going to be locked in, mate. You cannot wait. Do you imagine what the podcast is going to be like if Gold Coast make finals? My goodness, it could be. We could have to. If we have Tommy on, it could be the highest ranking episode ever. But J-Dog, it's only week 5. We've still got 18 rounds to go. That is how exciting this season of football is. Rightio. Let me get into it. Let me get into the round that was. The crunch down, the observations, not about facts, just from what I saw on the weekend. Got to go to Melbourne and the Lions on the weekend.
We'll make your face big, Peps. Make your face big. Do yourself.
Oh, no.
Put me in the background, mate. Put me in the background.
Like that? Like that? Do you like
Done.
that? All right. I'll move you down a little bit. I'll just maybe just over here. Just over here. All right, just there. All right. So, throw it in, J-Dog. Rightio. So this is what I saw. Melbourne versus Brisbane. Brisbane. Best game I've seen Brisbane play live ever. One of the best games I've seen Brisbane play, full stop. They decimated Melbourne. I'm not making the excuse that they had 3 games in 12 days, but they just looked lethargic. About 10 minutes in, they just looked like they couldn't do anything. But the pressure that Brisbane applied to the Ds, it was sensational. We've spoken about Lockie Neal. We've spoken about Hipwood. When Hipwood is kicking 2 in the first quarter, you're not going too good at all from a Melbourne perspective. But Cam Rayner, probably career best game. And he's had some cameos, but he was the leading man on Thursday night and just absolutely decimated us. I can't really even go how bad we were. That's how disappointing it was looking at from a Melbourne perspective. But I'm not going to put I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. They've got the week off, which is great. They then have Anzac Day Eve. And then they also have Essendon the week after that as well too. So they've got a nice little couple coming up, and that's Geelong at the G. But not going to be easy, but I think that they'll rebound nicely against Richmond. I was out on Friday night for a good portion. Came back, game was nice and tight. Turned it back on later on. Essendon smashed the Doggies. Last week we had a question on the podcast. Who would you rather be, Adelaide or Essendon? A lot of people went with Adelaide, and I'd probably still go with them. But I had no idea Essendon were able to serve this up. Now, what does it say? Does this say that Essendon were good, or were the Western Bulldogs that bad? Now, from what I spoke to a few Doggy supporters on the footy at the East Keeler Football Club season opener, and they said the Doggies were shocking. But I also think that there was a lot of pressure coming from the senior players from Essendon and a bit of youth going through there as well too. So a great result for Essendon. The Doggies have changed virtually everything across their entire club except the coach. That's the only thing they pretty much haven't touched. I don't know whether he can. Interesting. GWS versus the Saints. You couldn't ask for a game that GWS dominated from start to 85%, and then St Kilda went bang, 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 and just couldn't get over the line. It would have been a shock, a big shock if that one went across the board, considering who the Giants, sitting 5 and zone, pretty much dominated everybody. But it just goes to show, when you're playing lesser likes for a majority of your first 4 weeks, you get a team who's got a bit of spunk about them, can challenge. Anything can happen. Now, Max King hasn't got any major structural difficulties to his knee. A few people have gone a bit, wish he wasn't playing. I've actually heard that from a few Saints supporters, wish he was out because he doesn't bring anything, which is really disappointing. But, mate, they lost by a point. Is it an honourable loss? No. No. Don't. No. But GWS, they just do everything that they need to at the moment. They're going to find it. The next few weeks going to be a lot tougher, and we'll find out really what is going on there. Probably the game of the year so far, outside of our game that we had a couple of weeks ago. J-Dog, the Carlton Blues lost to Adelaide. Every football supporter around the state of Victoria and probably around the country was just cheering home the Crows in those last couple of minutes. It just goes to show, if you just throw, I reckon they stole it from us, J-Dog, if you spin the magnets, anything can happen. They took out the slow brigade. They put in Rankin. They put in, the guy that got hit by Pickett last week. They put in Rochelle, and they just get some Saligo. They put some spunk on the ball, and anything can happen. Rankin probably had his another, if not career best game at the Crows by the length of the Flemington Straight. And, yep, fantastic win. It just goes to show Carlton, have the wheels fallen off the Lygon Street bus? Has the mozzarella melted? Has the salami gone off? Has the crust got stale down there in Pizza Land? Oh, I'd be love to watch their podcast over the next couple of days. Suns smashed Hawks. Hawks are woeful. Absolutely woeful. And the Suns, they are going to be brutal. And you can already start to see that Dimmer Hardwick's going, unless you're going to be cracking skulls and breaking hearts, you're not getting a game from my mob. And if you give this mob 2-3 years, they are going to be scary. There could be multiple premierships within this team. And the thing is that they've got that many to come in. It's just even getting scarier for the league. So it has another question about those whole academy side of things. We're not getting into that. Port Adelaide over Fremantle, mate. This is your mob. I'll let you get into it. But a cracking game. And I reckon it just came down to Fremantle can't score.
Yeah, it's what happens when you decide to only kick about 10 goals a game to try and defend a lead like that. So, unfortunately, I think Port Adelaide's had this run as well where when you try and be so defensively minded, you inadvertently always keep the team close because it's only a 2-goal swing and it can turn the whole game. I think Port played averagely, to be honest. But I think that Freo is the most dour team to watch, and they've walked away with an 8-point swing where they could have beaten Carlton when they had them on toast with 9 points to go, and they had the exact same situation with the 2-minute drill. And Port came through and they basically did, and I heard David King talk about it today and on Sunday night or what it was, basically say that Port learnt their lessons from the Melbourne game when we had you guys on toast until the last couple of minutes.
Yep.
And Freo just need to be better. They've lost 2 games on the trot with 2 very similar losses.
Yep. Oh, it was cracking. Cracking game of footy, cracking game to see, and a cracking result for football all across the board. I've also got to throw in a bit of this, J-Dog. 2 really disappointing teams on Sunday, talking about North and talking about Richmond. North just don't have a back line. And if there's no harder game in football is to go down to Geelong, to do it without a back line is shocking. Jeremy Cameron comes out and kicks one of these.
Bags, bags, bags. We love it when they're kicking. Bags, bags, bags. It's got to be 6 of them.
Yep, he came out and kicked bags with 6. He's a freak. He's just nothing more than a freak, that bloke. There's not really much you can say about it. They're just poor North. They're going to have to bring in some experience. But that's all I can say. You can keep bringing in kids, but they don't have any big bodies around the ball, and it's just way too hard. And then you have a look at the last game, which I picked. I did pick the Weagles. Cracking win. Harley Reid is all that he's cracked up to be. And Jakey Waterman, guess what he did, J-Dog?
Bags, bags, bags. We love it when they're kicking. Bags, bags, bags. It's got to be 6 of them.
He kicked a 6 of the best as well, too. So a great win by the Weagles. Richmond, way too many injuries. But overall, some really great upsets. Some games that solidified where some clubs are. Some clubs may have got ahead of themselves. Brought them, as we would say, on the Mark Neild reality bus. Got themselves a ticket. And it's exciting going to see what's going to be heading up into the next few weeks. This is the last week, round 6, really round 7, but round 6, where all the clubs will be able to play their 6th game for the season. Then we might do an analysis next week on where every club is sitting and how their season has been after a quarter of the season already. But footy's in a really good spot at the moment. On field, The AFL have got their issues as well too, which we will have a bit of a chat about and a few things being thrown around, especially from an umpiring perspective.
Okay.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
All right, can I go? Can I just go through a few of these comments on the chat?
Go for it.
Okay, Mossy, big Western Bulldog supporter. Footy season's over, so what are you doing? Already thrown it. Tommy Roker, it's like he's banked up all of this chat. J-Dog. Will Graham, rising star. Jed Walter is a goat. Ethan Reed is a unicorn. Sam Closey, best mature recruit. That's come up a couple of beans. Noah Anderson for the Brownlow. I've got him for the Brownlow this year. Okay, I hope he gets through. Geelong are fat track bullies. North have got a tough run. Tommy's also saying the Suns will make finals. Buzz reckons that I should be locked up. Oh, hold on, Buzz. I'm just saying how from what I saw, you were stiff. Just couldn't get across the line. It's okay. The Lions and the Pies to come into the 8. We've also got J-Dog, suck some helium because you were so little. Dogs are bipolar. Dogs are shit. Sack Bevo. Why is Jamie so tiny? There's a lot of tiny love coming from you at the moment. Buzz named, I do like this one. Buzz named king but plays like a queen. Interesting one there. Buzzer. The Suns are fantastic. Flag Suns. Jolie Michaels come up with Will Graham and Closey look really good, and I pretty much agree with them. They are absolutely sensational. The Academy kids are killing it. Move north to Tassie. I don't think that's going to solve it. They're going to be coming. And yeah, Tommy Roker wants to know is who is Mark Neild? Well, just look the highlights up, Tommy, on YouTube about Melbourne, about Mark Neild, and you'll get all the goodness about who he was. And I use goodness with a very, 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 very facetious manner.
All right. Do you want to talk about some footy talk?
I'd love some footy talk. What have you got for me? So obviously, if people haven't joined the show this year, we've normally gone into in-depth round analysis, etc., but you can get that from everybody else. So we're just going with topics that we feel that we want to talk about. If they've come from the weekend, we're definitely going to get into it. But some major topics coming around the league. And I've got one I want to raise with you, which does affect your team directly. But I'm going to start off with you, mate.
Well, let's probably, I reckon it's probably going to be on the same thing.
Yep.
Today on SEN on Waitley show.
Mm-hmm.
There's a segment that starts at around 9:30 that the Michael Christian comes on. Christian. Thank you. Comes on and he talks about the week of, and talks about the MRO findings and why they decided to do certain things like that. And obviously the big talking point was Crouch and Butters.
Yep.
One getting 1 and the other getting a 0. Both look like the same incident. And Michael Christian came on and he explained that they are not going to remove the collision from the game. So basically, Butters' intent was on the ball the whole time, where it was deemed that Crouch's wasn't the intent on the ball the whole time, and it was a football collision versus an act of a bump. Then I know it's a long intro too, but I have to give the backstory. Then Dwayne said that Michael Christian has saved football with his comments on the Waitley show.
Who said that?
Dwayne.
Dwayne's a flog.
Well, this is my question to Peps is, my question to you is, Peps, did you hear the comments?
Yep.
And do you agree that has clarified what is and what is not constituted as a bump?
I don't know. See, I don't think Crouch did anything wrong either. This is where it's killing me right now. It's all about the other person. It's not about you being able to protect yourself. Now, he went in hard and to get the ball. Butters did the same thing. They both clipped heads. A few weeks ago, they said, you clip the head, you're going to get weeks.
Yeah.
You clip a head, you don't get weeks. So I'm lost. And the whole thing that he came out with was, and this is where it's, where it smells like shit. It looked like shit. It is shit. When Christian came out and said, because Butters had his hands near the ball and Crouch didn't, he elected to bump and then get the ball, where Rosie had his hands near the ball. That was the difference. I'm just as confused, and I'm telling you now, if Pickett got a week for what he did, how Rosie didn't get a week for what he did stuns me more than anything.
Butters, yeah, but
because he clipped him. He clipped him, J-Dog.
Yeah, but
it's
a completely different incident.
No, he clipped him. The head is sacrosanct. And this is now leading to a topic. This is a topic. Yep. And it doesn't matter. See, Craigie Jones has come out and saying Butters didn't even attempt to brace himself. He was completely bent over, and it was the same. It was the ass that got Banfield. Well, you know what? That was very similar to the ass of Trent Cotchin that got Cornelio in a prelim and got him through when he shouldn't have played. It's confusing. Nobody has a clue what it is. And the bloody GBS has kicked in again, J-Dog. The GBS has just struck another chord in round 5 of the AFL.
Well, GBS, for those who have never come across that term before?
Good bloke syndrome. There's good bloke syndrome and there's bad bloke syndrome. And good bloke syndromes get off with everything. Bad bloke syndromes, no matter how minimal, will get pushed through the roof. And you got no-name syndrome, which means if you're a no-name, you're going to get treated a hell of a lot worse than somebody with a name.
Okay, so I am probably.
And you've got to take your hat off here. If you've got to take the Port Adelaide hat
no,
off.
I will.
I thought Cozzy's the week before was stupid. Did he deserve a week? Probably not. But by the letter of the law, clipped him on the head, got a week for stupidity.
Cozzy deserved a week. That's now 3 times in.
No, don't worry about the other thing. You can't worry about that. But it doesn't make sense how that can be left alone from Butters' perspective. But somebody who went in hard, and the guy went over with his head. See, that's the other thing as well too. Why has the guy got the bad technique? He needs to fix himself up as well too. Like usually when there's a collision, there's 2 people involved, not just one, and the other one's just the negative bystander. You've got to protect yourself more, and he never protected himself.
I agree on all those points. And this is where it comes down to, for me, it comes down to what did they see? I think Butters barely clipped the head where Crouch was a little bit more forceful. But I agree on the point that the AFL are trying to tell us over, and Laura
Kane
has said that they are going to be a lot stronger on this year. And then I think this has failed the acid test. Probably every week there's been an incident where this has failed the acid test a little bit.
The sniff test, it stinks, J-Dog. It is the pub test. It's the sniff test. It's the Marbo. It's the Serenity. It's everything involved right here. Nobody. The only people who said it wasn't a reportable incident are Port Adelaide supporters. And I'm being genuine here. Very similar to the people who went, well, Cozzy got off. Should get off with Melbourne supporters. But when you look at it, it's stupid. But the good bloke syndrome, which originally started with Lenny Hayes getting into the AFL Hall of Fame, has now struck with Butters. Butters is one of the chances for the Brownlow. That's the only reason he didn't get. That's the reason why he got off.
I would call that early.
He clipped the guy in the head, got off.
I'm more happy to call something like that if it was around 18 or something. Then I'd be like, this is a complete conspiracy.
It doesn't matter. I'm telling you now, J-Dog. I'm telling you now. He got a week.
So where are you? Are you any clearer now on what is a bump?
Idea. I've got no idea.
Yeah.
I've got no idea. Craigie Jones is saying that a lot of players were saying it's fair. Some people saying it's not fair.
I agree in the principle of that.
Look, can I deep down, as a football lover, I love the contest of 2 people going in.
Yeah.
Right. Love it. I'm taking all that away and I'm looking at it from an objective I'm trying to understand what's going on from a rules perspective, because if I tried to pull somebody in to watch our game for the first time and say, watch these two collisions and tell me what the difference is, someone would go, I got no idea. And I go, well, that one was worth a week off and that one was nothing. It doesn't make any sense. That's what's frustrating us as a football community, is when the AFL come out with mixed messages. And their messages have been more mixed than I think any time in the last 5 years, and they've been pretty murky for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yep. What about you? Where do you sit on it?
Yeah, no, I think Crouch was stiff. I'm gonna be honest, I think Crouch was stiff because I'm with Craig. I'm with you on this one here. I think, and both of them to me are just acts of football. I see Cozzy's different because Cozzy jumped up to hit. I think that's different to me. These two are pure acts of football of two athletes contesting a ball on the ground and are both leading in with their hands to win the ball. I don't feel either of them went the bump as their first option, and I just think I think it speaks more unfairly as to Crouches than to Butters, because Butters, I wouldn't blink an eyelid, and I didn't think on the night that it was worth 1 week. I watched Crouches, and I hand on heart, I don't believe that is worth 1 week.
Yeah, even the Cozzy one the week before. If you have a look at that, he actually went to try and smother the ball in the air, and then clipped him on the way through. So that was the stupid aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
And you can't go by what he's done in the previous weeks, because the first one, people have been saying, oh, he's been rubbed out 3 times in 23 games. The first one was that missile launch when he ran into Bailey Smith.
Round 2 of it was last year, yeah.
He hit him in the shoulder, which technically you're allowed to do, but because it was the look, that's why he got weeks. And then the last year in the final, well, then he did something stupid. So I'm not wearing that one. But I just get so frustrated, Jamie, when I'm looking at things and I've got no idea. There was also a sling tackle on the weekend. So Charlie Cameron got a week for a sling tackle.
Yep.
Toby Green got off.
Yep.
And it's all to do with the outcome rather than the intent. So we've got some rules. When you've got insufficient intent, you get penalised. Yet there's other ones when we don't worry about the intent. We're all worried about the outcome. That is just wrong.
Can you chuck up John Michael's comment?
That is a cracker. Hopefully we can get the whole thing on the screen here. Yep. So John, I reckon this is a great comment, but we're focusing on the wrong issue. Crouch was graded careless to the head, medium impact on potential to cause injury. Same as Windhager's. Butters was deemed the same, but low impact. Why is Christian talking about the act and not the potential impact if it's only a difference?
Yeah.
I don't know. Can I take this one step further, Jamie? What is low impact and what is medium impact? I've got an idea what high is, but what is medium and what is low?
I honestly, I think Butters is probably low if I could barely hit him versus Crouch is a little bit more forceful. But how do you put that into context?
I don't even, and I think this is what we are talking about. It's a great comment, Joel. We don't know. And like I said, I'll go back to the Pickett one last week. They said Pickett's was medium. So I think they've graded Pickett's little ticky to the same as Crouch's, where Crouch's was more of an impact. So, and that's what they're saying. Well, what's low, man? If that's medium, what's low? And if you clip someone low in the head, are you actually ever going to get off, or is it always going to be? So I'm just confused. I've got no idea what's going on. Buzz, you can keep saying, remember who Pickett's uncle was. That's great. It doesn't make any difference.
It's kangaroo court, essentially.
It is. It's a farce. The whole thing is a farce. And I have no idea where things are going at the moment. Yep. And it's funny though. We come on every week and we don't want to, we want to, the statistical side of things, etc. And I've got a few stats I want to roll out about someone really important today. We talk about this though, I reckon every second week.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Which is why we're going to stop talking about it.
I know we want to stop talking about it, but you know what? Give us a reason to stop talking about it, AFL.
Yeah.
Really give us a reason to stop saying why you're shit at the moment. Because the game is in a really good spot. And then there's things like this. Powell Pepper got 4 weeks And he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but he did.
Well, you
There
can
was
also argue that that is a footy act as well.
Yeah, well, I see. I don't understand this whole footy act thing. I don't understand what is a footy act? Isn't every act a footy act?
I don't know.
They keep coming out with this footy act bullshit. There's no footy act. An act is an act. But he got 4 weeks, and Thingo got none. And the only difference was one got a concussion and the other one didn't.
Yeah,
and that's it. And it is really doing my head in, how we talk about this, because there's so many good things about the game at the moment, and we happen to just bring this up again. Can I bring up another umpiring thing that's come up, and everybody knows about this? Now the score review system.
Mm-hmm.
In the same amount of football after 4 rounds, I think it is, they've had twice as many score reviews this season as they did for the same amount of time last year. Does that surprise you?
No, because that's actually going to be my next topic to roll into that. So that's go for it. Yeah.
So it's I think it was, and I'm throwing a number here, so I could be wrong, but it was like 43 to 86. Now, what's the message coming from the AFL again about score reviews? Is it like anytime you think that you have got no idea what's going on, review? If you think it's gone through, but it's touch, review. I don't even think it's the arc. Is it because we're sponsored by crypto.com? You're going to plug it, review.
It's a great point, because it feels in the first 5 rounds that I have seen more crypto reviews than I had for all of last season.
How was one game, which was the Ben Keys game from last year, just completely screwed the pooch from an AFL's perspective when it comes to this?
Yeah. There's a bit of shadow jumping. I definitely agree with that one there. The technology, as we know, we've spoken about it for the last 4 years, is not up to scratch. And now I feel like we are seeing more and more goal umpires that are too afraid to make a decision.
Yep.
Even though blind Freddie can see that the ball was 1 meter inside the post or was not even in the vicinity of a defender's hand off the boot.
Yep.
And we're doing reviews and we're slowing the game down. Like now a 20-minute quarter is taking 33 minutes.
So there's a couple of things. I don't know if you've ever been goal umpire before. And look, viewers, tell me if I'm wrong. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. But being a goal umpire, a lot of the time you can work out what's going on. But it's the quick kick close to goal that is so rapid, you cannot see it quick enough. And they're the ones that are getting a little bit dicey. But if it goes through for a goal, just call it a goal. They get reviewed anyway. So why do they think, I think it's a goal, but we're going to check? Scrap those. Just say it's a goal, and then they'll check it on the way back.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do. The other thing that's starting to creep in, and this is where the game is really going to get frustrating, is I'm paying dropping the ball. If you don't call it a point, I'm going to pay dropping the ball. And it shouldn't be that, where they're starting to have decisions before a score's going through that are starting to little creep in.
Remember an example of this, Peps?
Remember the first game of the year where Curnow got tackled on the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
And it was dropping the ball, but they thought it rolled through for a point.
Right.
A roll through for a goal. And they were like, well, hold on. He's called dropping the ball, but because it rolled through, he's like, oh, I don't know if it was a goal or a point, if it was kicked. So they went to the score review. Well, the umpire should have said, no, it was dropping the ball. That's it.
Yeah.
There was another one on the weekend where there was, I think, someone trying to rush the ball through, and the umpire didn't know if it was rushed or if it was a mark or something along. Oh, Stengel the week before. Apologies. Stengel took a mark, and the ball was clearly over the line. But they're like, well, we don't know if it's a mark or if it's not a mark. But if it's a mark, it's a shot. If it's not, it's a point. But you can see him juggle the ball over. So it's just getting confusing. Why it should be. So we have to go radical here. So this is how I'd be looking at it. They're talking about putting chips into the ball. That's going to make, but it's not going to make any difference, really, is it?
Not in those
particular. You still have to go and review it.
Yeah.
So how about we just scrap the whole thing and make it simple as this? Ball hits the post and goes through the goals, it's a goal. Ball hits the post, goes through the points, it's a point. Ball hits the post, comes back into play. Play on. It's a radical shift, but that just stops everything. Every other sport that hits the upright and goes in, it's a goal. We are making it so difficult for ourselves where we should just go. They've ruined every other thing in the league where can't run out of fullback, kicking, the back lines are best, the boundary lines are backman's best friend, all that stuff. Just scrap it and just go. If the ball hits the post and goes through, it's a goal. The ball goes in the points, it's a point. Ball hits the post and goes back into play, it's play on.
Yeah, I think I've called for that rule change a couple of times.
I think you have, and I think I've come to the conclusion I never wanted it, but is it better to have something as simple as that and then it's stuff your technology? The technology doesn't even matter.
And when they try and look at the spin of the ball after it's come through the post, I'm like, come on, dickheads.
Yeah. I don't mind the arc. But I think it's not actually the arc's issue that causes these problems. What Bo Hawkins has mentioned. What I think, it's got everything to do with the directions coming from the AFL on how to adjudicate these. If not sure, you just got to put it through. Score review. Even if you're not sure, score review. That has to change. And apparently it will be coming up very, very shortly in the next couple of days.
Peps, can I bring this conversation to something closer to home?
Yes, you may. Go for it, my big dog.
Okay, so it's become apparent that I feel I probably have to stop watching my own team on the TV play footy. I don't know if you're the same, but I am a horrible person to be around when I'm watching my own team play. And to the point where I'm not one of those people who will start Xing players directly or jumping on forums and whinging about stuff. That's not who I am. I just think that's a bit over the top. But in terms of me sitting there on the couch, I will let C words fly. I will let the F-bomb fly. And I am not a great supporter to watch my team live. And I think I have an issue.
Live at the footy?
Oh, sorry. No, watching the game on TV.
Okay.
I am at the game. At the game, I'm a whole lot better supporter. And I think it's because it comes down to one thing. I can't see the mistakes at a live game versus watching it on the TV.
Hey, dog, we've been saying this for years. I cannot stand watching Melbourne live. Sorry. I cannot stand watching Melbourne on the TV. You know what it was like when Grand Final Day 2021. I couldn't even watch it because you can't see the mistakes. You got the bloody score in front of you all the time. You can't see the lay of the land. The commentators are giving you the absolute shits. My old man, Big Trev, we all love Big Trev. He can't watch Melbourne games on TV. And I reckon there's a lot of supporters who cannot watch their teams on TV. And I want to know the reasons behind it. I think
I have to give it up, Peps.
It is bad. You're right. And it affects family life at home.
I'm there. On Saturday, I was sitting there in my couch, and I'm like, if I just take myself out of my body and just look at myself back, I am not a good person to be around.
Yep. I think it's a thing. I've got some people saying it is. Some people say it's not. I know supporters that they can't watch their team on TV, and they go, how do you watch them? I say, I just can't watch them because they frustrate me because you cannot see what's going on. And I reckon the mistakes get amplified with the high-def cameras zooming right in and being able to see what's going wrong. And then they replay it, and they replay it, and they replay it.
Yeah.
And I can't stand it. Now, Tori, the beautiful Tori's come out and said, I love TV. I can change the channel by turning off the footy at the ground. Sorry. She loves it on TV because she can change the channel. You can't turn it off at the ground. Yes, you can. You just go to the bar or you walk out. You just walk out. But no,
yeah.
It's true. I'm with you 100%. And I don't know. I think the older we get, the less tolerant we are. And it's just frustrating. It is frustrating.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
I
you can't
agree.
see the chaos
you
of
can't.
the live game.
No, you can't.
But when you're watching it, you can see Lockie Jones drop off a player. That player gets free and kicks a goal 35 out, and you're like,
Yep.
Where are you, Lockie? You just get angry.
So how do you solve this, J-Dog? Do you know what I'd love? You know, I reckon there's one way that they could solve this. If they gave us access to behind the goals coverage and you could just sit there and watch it from behind the goals, how good would that be? No commentary.
It'd be worse for me.
No, because you'd see the whole ground. You could see where everybody was running, not shot after shot after shot after shot. You just see the whole ground. I reckon that'd be perfect. I would love that. Just be able to see. But yes, I know that there's a lot of people who can't watch it. I can listen to the radio, but I can't watch the footy. There's some people here that will watch the footy, but they'll change who is doing the commentary because they think the commentary leads a lot to it. And I think that's actually pretty true, in what they're saying. And there's some people just who have no issue with it. And when I'm watching other teams and other games, there's no problem whatsoever. It's my own team.
Yep. Agreed. 100%.
We agreed. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Let us know in the comments, viewers. Are we right? Can you watch your TV? Can you watch your team on TV? We can't. Tell us if you can, and if you can, why? And if you can't, give us the reason as well, because I'd love to hear it. Something that's coming up on the chat, J-Dog, a fair bit. Commentary. Has commentary of TV football got worse?
In what way do you mean worse?
Are more and more people turning it off? Getting frustrated by the commentary? Useless talk, mates club side of things, the captain obviouses.
There are certain people that I don't love commentating my games. But
Who don't you like? Who don't you like? Just say it how it is, because I'll go through mine who I cannot stand whatsoever. Go for it.
Okay, so being a Port supporter and being the fact that now there's now they commentate from studios. They don't commentate from the ground anymore.
They don't go to the grounds anymore.
No. They commentate back in Melbourne.
Is that true, or they still
have one correspondent who is going to be at the game, and for us, it's always for Fox Footy. It's always Mark Rasciuto. So he will commentate all the Port Adelaide games.
All the games now are still being done in the studio from a commentary perspective. They don't even send them out there anymore.
Not that I believe. I could be wrong, but that's what I
Why
believe.
Would you spend that much money on football and not have your people go out to commentate from there?
No, they're all back in the studio.
It is. It's like buying the most expensive car in the lot and not putting any petrol in the damn thing.
Other people, there are other comment. I mean, I used to really hate Dermy. Like, he used to give me the shits in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
But Dermy's okay. I don't really have any issue with many others. I don't know. I mean, the standards there, aren't they? Really?
Can I just go through some of the names?
Kelly Underwood. Yep. Yeah.
But I don't care. I'm going to hold back. BT. He's got to go. He's good on radio, but he doesn't let the game breathe.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. Kelly Underwood. It's like masturbating with a cheese grater. Slightly amusing, but mostly painful, to be honest. Dwayne Russell does my head in. Dermy, just, mate, any chance of you saying something in 25 words than 2,500 words every single time?
Every time.
Yep. Luke Darcy just gives me the shits as well too. James Brayshaw. I think anybody who's really over the top and making it more about themselves than the actual game is giving me. Now, I want to flip this around though, because I believe these are the ones that I do like. Simon Hill, when he commentated, we spoke about this last week. He just calls it like a football game. Doesn't put any extra mayo on it, just does it absolutely gorgeously. I love Alistair Nicholson when he brings to the yard as well. I loved when Stephen Quartermain did it. I love when Tim Lane did it. I look back and think about Bruce, special, Cyril, delicious, everything there. And I go, I wish I could have him back now. Because sometimes what you lose, you realize that you want it back. The Jack Dyers, the Lou Richards, they just kept it real. They just kept the footy real. I like Hutto, I must admit. I like Jared Wheatley. I like these who just make the game about the game and not about themselves. They don't make it a boys' club.
Yeah.
Dennis, perfect. Dennis was the GOAT.
Yeah.
Right.
Bo Hawkins has got a really good point. And I totally agree with this. I think the crossover. So I think that there are radio commentators and I think that there are TV commentators.
Yeah, I agree.
And with radio, you lose the visual. So you have to have a bit of something there. So I think BT and JB, and that's where I probably am a bit softer on them because for me, they're Triple M footy Friday, Saturday nights. And I really enjoyed their shows they put together on those days. So I'm a bit softer on them. I know some people just cannot stand them, and I totally get that. But I think what you're saying there with like Matt, with Hill, Cometti, Waitley, Hutto, they are traditional media commentators.
Performers. They are. They're television presenters.
Yeah.
They're not just crossing over. And like even things like Hodgie with his Captain Obviouses all the time. Like
Richo's the same.
Richo's the same. I don't mind Richo. He plays his part nicely.
Yeah.
I will admit. But I just cannot stand the fact that I can see what's going on the TV. I don't need to be told. They're down by 48 goals, but there's still 7 minutes. Anything can happen. No, be realistic. When the real ones go, look, I don't think they've got any chance of coming back in here, but I could be proven wrong. Like, don't try and create false excitement. It does not work. Those other ones just call the game as it should be called, and that's why I absolutely love Howie's good as well too. But you know what? I listen to the Triple M footy feed at times, and I love the package that the Triple M bring together as a radio unit, but not as a same with 3AW. I love that they do that as well too. So I think that if you can get the right mix for the right medium, it works. But there are some commentators that I just cannot stand whatsoever. And it's getting to the point now where SEN have brought out their sync app where you can go ahead and sync their radio coverage with your TV signal. And so you don't have to listen to the ones on the TV. And it works, and it is gorgeous. Give it a crack. Definitely give it a crack because it works.
Bring more horse people across to footy.
Well, Tommy Roker, I think he's done it best. I would prefer either of you guys any day. So that's either giving us a really nice pat on the back or a nice kick in the nuts, depending on how you really like your commentary, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to hear from you. What do you think? Who do you like? Who don't you like? And remember, please like, subscribe, ring the bell.
All right. Peps, I think that probably brings us to the end of tonight's topics.
No, I got one more.
Oh, what do you got?
Can we just put our hands together for the great Jason Dunstall being announced as the 32nd player to be elevated into the AFL Hall of Fame? That is snaps, claps, Jesse James in the holster. He finished his career in 1998 as the third most prolific goal kicker in VFL AFL history with 1,254 majors, trailing only St Kilda and Sydney great Tony Lockett and Gordon Coventry as well. He was brought into the Hall of Fame in 2002 and 22 years later has been elevated to it as well too. Kicked the 100 goal mark 6 times. 145 goals in 1992. Some people don't even get to half of that and they win a Coleman these days. That's how ridiculous it is. Personal best of 17 goals in a single game against Richmond, round 7 at Waverley Park, 1991. And I remember he had 11 to half time that day as well too. The other cracking stat that I got out of this was he reached that 1,000 goal mark 3 seasons faster than any other player. Did you hear that today?
Yeah.
That just goes to show how good he was.
Yeah, 249 games or 248 games.
And do you know how we say that there are players who played in the wrong time frame? Such as we've said, Jeremy Cameron would kick 1,000 goals if he was
Yeah.
playing in the 80s or 90s.
Mhm.
He's the perfect example of just being caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, mind you, he did get 4 flags, but he had to go against Dunstall, Lockett. So we say it all the time: Dunstall, Lockett, Ablett, Modra, Kernahan, Jakovic, all the guns from across the league. And he has just probably been the best out of the lot from a purist full forward perspective. He was absolutely sensational.
Just saying that, Peps.
Yep.
As a almost 40-year-old guy.
Yep.
You just saying that almost like sent tingles on my back of like when footballers were footballers. Like
Yep.
that just
Footballers not athletes. I even forgot Simon Beasley in there. I think we're going a bit
like
that
that era of forwards
Oh.
is the golden era of football for me.
Mate, it was the golden era of forwards. It was the golden era, I believe. If you ever look at the midfielders running around at that time as well, too. I didn't even throw Modra in there. Yeah, all absolute guns. Even Harry Loftus, absolute superstar. His son's playing for the Essendon VFL team as well, too. Just an absolute champion, well deserved. And and Buzz, funny enough, Buzz is also giving him a pat on the back, but also just let us know that there is also only one Tony Lockett as well. So yes, and we love Tony Lockett. Don't get us wrong, but this is about Dunstall. The other, now this is actually one that I'm really happy about as well, is that there was a bit of an inkling from Andrew Dillon, and I like what he's doing already with his tenure at the AFL. Ben Cousins might be a chance for the AFL Hall of Fame. And you know what? He should be in there. Now, we know he's had all these dramas off the field, but he has pretty much brought himself back from the depth of despair to get himself into a position now where he looks like he's back to his old self. He's still got a rig that most of us would dream of. But I think he should go in. He should go in. Now, there are people who are going to say no. I'd love to hear why, but he deserves it. He's put himself through hell. He's put a lot of people through hell, and he made a decision: do I either keep going down this route, or do I go and change the way I am as a person, change the way that I am? And he's pretty much done it. He's going to be on the next Dancing with the Stars, so get ready for that. But yeah, there's a bit of feedback coming through. So interested to sort of hear what people are going to be saying about that. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bigger conversation there. You remember just last week we've heard about Carl Dietrich. And then there's a broader conversation of should they be in, should they be out, can they be removed? Ablett, where does he stand? There's a big conversation.
Well, Ablett's in.
Yeah, but whether he will one day, yeah, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I reckon he will.
I reckon he will.
Yeah, I reckon he will.
Yep. The Carey, all those sort of types, all those problems he's had.
Yeah, I think Carey's had more issues than Ablett. Even though Ablett's had one big issue, if you put a collective on them, I think Carey's had a lot more.
It was quite a big one.
It was quite a big one.
Quite involved
but
lots of things. There's a big story behind it.
Yeah.
If you don't know what we're talking about, just Google it.
So Google it. We're not talking about it.
We're not talking about it. We don't want to. Allegedly, we use the word allegedly. Allegedly, a senior was involved in lots of things.
Yeah, not junior. Junior was a gun.
Anyway, do we call it a show, Peps?
No, I just reckon one that's come up a couple of times is Jason Ackermanis. Should he be in the AFL Hall of Fame? He's already in there. Yep, he's in there. Yep. So Acker's in the Hall of Fame, deserves it. Gun. 3 flags. Yep. Rightio. I'm just ready to comment as well. I'm not going to go through them. All right. So, yeah, that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Cracking show tonight. Got a lot. Can we believe that an hour in? So, if everybody's joining us on the chat, hey, if you're liking what we're doing on the YouTube channel, on the Facebook channel, let us know because we keep doing it for you. Ask us questions. We will bring them through next week. We'll address anything that you bring up. Also, Jamie does not know this, but it has been smashing us week after week after week. The fantail needs to come back, J-Dog. The
I've gotta
fantail
find it.
needs to
I've
come
gotta
back.
Find one.
Not now, next week.
Okay, we'll see.
Put them in. All right.
We'll
We're going
see. But
to fantails are
if
going
I
to
do
be.
the fantail, you've got to leave us a voicemail on Facebook. So
Yes.
send us a message. Just jump on Messenger, type in Lace Out Podcast, and then just hold down the record button and leave us a voice message, and we will respond. We'll play it on the show next week as your audio file, and then we will respond with your answer.
Oh, actually, good point. Sorry, Bo Hawkins. One thing that we haven't done, which we normally do rounding off the episode, we're just being caught up in our own chat. Games we're looking forward to this week. And I reckon there's some absolute corkers. There could also be season-defining games this week, J-Dog.
Ooh.
You got Thursday night, St Kilda Doggies. Imagine the Doggies lose to St Kilda. Not to say it can't happen. Crows, Essendon. So, two teams we spoke about last week saying which team would we rather be. We went with Adelaide. They both had cracking wins. Now they're playing each other this week. 2 men into, 1 man leaves. You've also then got your mob and Collingwood.
It's a great.
That's
round.
that's a cracker. Carlton GWS.
You're on that game too. You're on that game.
That's going to really prove Carlton GWS who is the real deal. If Carlton are the real deal, they have to beat the Giants. And if the Giants are the real deal, they should beat Carlton. I know that's an oxymoron in itself because one of them is, unless it's a draw. But that's a standalone game. Brisbane versus the Cats. You could also say the Cats have had a bit of a softish start to the season as well. Brisbane, are they back? Are they not back? The derby is on as well. So the Eagles and the Dockers. The Eagles will be buoyant after their win last week. Sydney versus the Suns, and the Suns have a really good record against the Swans at the SCG. And then rounding it off, one team is going to win, which is either going to be North or it's going to be the Hawks. Someone's going to get their first win for the. Every game next week is one that I'm looking forward to, and I will be back with my tips on YouTube this week, and I'm looking forward to it as well.
Can I say now, Peps?
Yep.
Just quickly, I'm not looking forward to an 8-10 Saturday night game. I hate 8-10 football night games.
Is that the time that your game starts? 8:10.
That's the time when the West Coast Freo game starts. 8-10. Double header Saturday night, which I already hate. I hate an 8-10 start. That game won't finish until 11 o'clock.
It's 4 games. Yeah, that's ugly. Yeah, but you're not teams that playing, so it doesn't matter.
No, I'm going to the Collingwood game though.
Oh, that'd be a good one too. Going with the wifey?
No, I'm actually taking my son on a little father-son trip. We're going to meet up with another dad and his son.
If you see J-Dog at the footy, give him a pat on the back and say, "Great work, J-Dog. Love the work that you're doing at." I
don't know where I'm sitting, so I might not be anywhere. I might be incognito.
You're never incognito. You're too good looking to be incognito. You're in demand. That's what you are, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the great man, Jamie the J-Dog Wallis on Peps. That's your round 5 review of the 2024 AFL season. We've got one game. Everyone will have their even Stevens next week. We'll be back same time, same channel next week. Absolutely looking for it. But more importantly, J-Dog, the superstar that you are, how do you love your footy?
Like a lace out.
So do I, guys. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you this time next week.
Love you.
Better see you, listeners. Oh, you've changed.